Football season is officially back, so we introduce you to our new segment, Football Friday. Here we'll preview upcoming college games for local teams including Iowa, Iowa State, and Northern Iowa by hearing interviews from coaches and players. And when NFL season kicks off, we'll tell you the games you can watch here on KYOU Fox 15. But until then, we start with week 1 of the college football season, starting with Iowa's matchup with the University of Wyoming.
We're certainly excited and eager to get started. Also a little bit anxious. I think anytime, when you get into an opening ball game, it's a little bit unique for everyone. And basically, we've been competing against ourselves since last spring.
The big question all summer long for the Hawkeyes was who would be taking snaps under center for week 1. The competition was between sophomore Nate Stanley and redshirt junior Tyler Wiegers. Stanley won the competition earlier this week, and even though the quarterback may be young, the offense won't change that drastically for the season.
Doesn't mean we're going to run for 6 a carry, that type of thing. That's probably not realistic, but we need to, at least keep doing some things that are effective for us so we can run and pass in a complementary way. And we're not going to have them in a harness out there. I mean, Nate's going to have to throw the ball, we're going to have to catch it, and we're going to have to get open, all those kinds of things. And there's no reason we shouldn't, but we're going to have to execute. It's not going to come easy, that's for sure.
The biggest problem for the Hawkeyes this weekend will be facing junior quarterback Josh Allen. Allen is projected by many to be a first-round draft pick in next year's draft, and that's because of how versatile he can be in and out of the pocket.
Yeah, he's an experienced guy. He understands coverages. He understands where he can throw the ball and where he can't. And then he also can run. So it's going to be another thing. He's good with the pass, and he also can run. So we're going to have to be ready for both aspects of the game.
Wyoming head coach Craig Bohl has a lot of respect for all the Iowa players, but more specifically, the Iowa offensive line.
If you really look at their offense, the thing that really drives them is their offensive line. For years they've been known as a factory for offensive linemen. They've got, I believe, 3 seniors and 2 juniors, and they're all seasoned, experienced. We do know their offensive line coach well. He had worked with us, so I'm sure Coach Paulsek is going to have that group coming off the football, hard and on point.
Iowa versus Wyoming will start tomorrow at 11 a.m. Iowa State gets ready to play their first of 2 games against an in-state opponent this week by taking on Northern Iowa. Last year, the Cyclones lost to the Panthers by a score of 25-20. However, Coach Campbell isn't feeling the pressure to beat them this year.
I think pressure is only when you fail to lay a great foundation of what you are and what you're about and what your own preparation is. So, I think the only time you feel pressure is when you don't do a great job preparing. So I think we got a staff that knows how to prepare to be successful. I think that's one of the big changes in our football team is, they understand the preparation of what a process looks like to be successful.
On paper, the Cyclones have an experienced team, but up front, they're a little more inexperienced. However, Coach Campbell believes there are some things they can do to make up for that inexperience.
Just the consistency defensively. You don't got to make every play on the defensive line. Be in your gap, play your responsibility. Obviously, on offense with a new offensive coordinator may see some different things you haven't seen. So, play defense and be really gap sound. Offensively, it's making sure we control the controllable.
There's a substantial change to the Cyclones' depth chart this year, as last year's quarterback Joel Lanning is now playing linebacker. He says he's looked forward to the challenge, but he still has a lot to learn.
I had to get my pad level down. Been working on that. Coverage, I feel pretty confident in my coverage, when I got to cover people, and then filling gaps. And like I said, getting my pad level down, just all around knowledge, honestly. I had to learn a whole new system. So, I had to dive in there. That's what I've been doing.
The biggest change for the University of Northern Iowa this year is that they have 7 new assistant coaches. The biggest challenge for the new coaching staff will be trying to handle the Iowa State wide receivers.
They're tall, they're strong, and they're experienced, so they got great confidence. So that will be the challenge throughout the day. They're just probably be better in the run game this year, maybe than what they were previously, just because that probably is coordinated more so than what it was in the first game last year.
The game between the Cyclones of Iowa State and the Panthers of Northern Iowa kicks off tomorrow night at 7. Let's take a look at some other games going on this weekend. We start with games you can see right here on KYOU Fox 15, as we have a double header coming your way Saturday. And it all starts with the Fox College football pregame show at 2. Then starting at 2:30, we got UTEP taking on 7th-ranked Oklahoma. Then following that, it's Purdue versus Louisville. And since it's a 3-day weekend, we even have a game on Sunday as Texas A&M squares off against UCLA. We can't forget about the teams in Missouri, as Missouri State will travel to Columbia to take on the Missouri Tigers, with kickoff scheduled for 11 a.m. Then finally, we have to mention two of the biggest games of the week. 11th ranked Michigan and 17th ranked Florida will be going head-to-head in Jerry World in Dallas, Texas for their first games of the year. However, the game did lose a lot of its momentum, as a couple weeks back, Florida suspended 10 players for a violation of team rules. That game kicks off at 2:30. In the matchup a lot of folks have been waiting to see since the end of last year, the Alabama Crimson Tide will be taking on the Florida State Seminoles at 7 o'clock p.m. in the brand new Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the first time two teams ranked in the top 3 in the preseason will be facing off in week 1. Just a reminder, we have 2 shows for you that will air weekly right here on KYOU Fox 15. The first one is Fight for Iowa, which will recap the previous game and talk to Coach Kirk Ferentz, as well as tell you what else is going on for other Hawkeye sporting programs. And also we have the Matt Campbell Show, where you will get a recap of the Cyclones' most previous game and hear directly from the coach himself.